Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis. Up top with me today, we have Jonathan as my co-host. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks, Chantele.
Yay! And new to Reality Realness for the first time, first appearance, first time on the runway is Andrew. How are you doing, Andrew?
I'm great. I'm happy to be on the bottom. I'm used to it. It's a great place to be.
At least to start anyways, right?
At least to start, right. And then you become versatile as you go. But I'm so excited to be here. I am a Drag Race super fan. I have watched everything and anything to do with Drag Race. So I don't want to say I'm the only fan, but I am RuPaul's only fan, basically. But I'm ready to go.
You're probably going to be a little bit more well-equipped than I have. I've seen, obviously, all of UK, the one season of Australia, all of the US. I haven't seen any of the, Uber International. So I haven't seen any of Thailand. I haven't seen Holland, but you've seen both of those?
I have seen all of them.
Okay,
Perfect.
Sorry.
I haven't either. I have my book. I haven't seen Thailand. I haven't seen Holland. So I'm interested in hearing your perspective, how those are represented as well. Yeah.
We do have some friends in the chat already. So Travel the World says, hi, Chantele, Andrew, and Jonathan. So Travel the World, have you been watching UK, RuPaul's Drag Race UK versus the world? I knew that it was going on, and then I was like, I wasn't sure if I was going to cover Drag Race or not, and so I kind of want to see how this goes. So they haven't covered Drag Race in 2 years, and so I'm happy to have this opportunity to talk about it because it was a fun episode.
So much fun. And I think that I've been telling all the kids, this is what World War III is going to be like. This is just my ideal version of World War III. But this has been, something the fans have been wanting for years. All Stars is great and we have them in the US, but to see all of these queens competing from their own seasons to come together is just, it's iconic. It's truly iconic.
It really is. Now, I loved all the queens. I thought that they were all beautiful, all great. I do wish some of my favorites were coming, but maybe they're saving that for season 2, because I loved a lot of people from season 2 of the UK.
Agreed.
And I hadn't seen UK season 1, but I knew Bag of Chips because of the Circle. So she was on the Circle. I saw her on that, and then I've seen obviously bits and pieces of her. I know who she is, but I wasn't familiar with season 1, even though everybody's watch it, and I just forgot.
I think initially I felt the same way. I was like, ooh, these UK queens, why are they all from season 1? They're not the cream of the crop. But I think we have to remember that UK has only had 2 seasons. So I don't think they want to blow through all of their quality queens. 3. So if they kind of use all the good ones now, they're not going to have any left if this keeps going. So I think using the queens from season 1 was maybe a smart, tactful way of Ru saying, let's keep some people in the wings for now.
Jonathan, you were going to say something.
I just wish it was more I like this. I like the international element to it, but I do wish it was more not so obviously biased towards. I think it's going to be biased towards the UK and the American queens, which we can talk about later. I think it comes into play later on in this episode, but I do like seeing kind of from all over. So yeah, we can get into
Andrew, do you know that Jonathan and I are from Canada? So have you been watching Canada's Drag Race?
I am obsessed with Canada's Drag Race. I think what's funny is that usually everyone used to call all the international seasons of Drag Race by kind of their country's acronyms. But now that the international Drag Race seasons are so much better, we're now calling regular Drag Race US Drag Race. It's now just US Drag Race, because there are some things that Canadian Drag Race is doing so much better than I think American Drag Race.
What? Not judging.
Well, you have Jimbo, right? Jimbo Enough is just
that's true.
Can't touch that.
The interesting element with Canada too is we don't have and Jimbo mentioned it in this episode, we don't have a pageant scene. We had our first pageant in January of 2020 for the first time in 11 years. So there isn't much of that pageant scene, which I actually really like being brought to the show. So it's something that we lack here, but I can appreciate when I watch the American version or some of the other versions as well.
So when watching this, what station is it on in the States? Is it on WoW? I'm not sure. Okay,
WoW.
Okay.
WoW Plus, yeah.
Travel the World has watched obviously the US seasons, but hasn't watched anything from any other countries. But so this would be on WoW, I would assume.
WoW Plus, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes to get the other countries. I do have a link to a VPN affiliate if you want to use it, and then you can just go to the Drag Race websites. You can probably figure that out. So if you guys want to do that, but
or just fly to every country and watch it over there. I'm sure that's totally feasible. Yeah.
So
we'll all fly to Thailand. We'll fly to the UK.
Well,
it's great.
It's funny. It's available on WoW minus in Canada and the UK, which is on the UK. It's on the BBC 3 in the UK, and then in Canada, it's on Crave. So that's where you can watch it, depending on where you are.
Which is good to know. At least it's a little bit accessible. That's another thing. It's like, I don't know how you found, Thailand. Like, is it on Daily Motion, or are you using a VPN and going directly to their site? So just sometimes it's a little bit less accessible. So I would like to catch up and do a little bit more homework and see some of the other drag queens. I've heard that Spain has some awesome queens.
Iconic.
Okay, so I definitely want to see that season, especially because I love
Andrew
Spanish
knows all
people.
of them. He's like,
I know all of them. I know. I feel like my family's always just like, is it ever ending? And I'm like, this is how young teenage Andrew felt every time like football came around, or basketball or baseball. I was like, sports are never ending. I want drag to be the same way. It should be never ending.
It is kind of like a sport. So now that we're doing like an international season, it's kind of like an Olympics, kind of.
Oh, exactly.
It's amazing. So I heard you had a little bit of a run-in with a queen recently, or in your lifetime?
I did. So I just recently did a meet and greet with the Cornbread from the current season of Drag Race, season 14. Cornbread has like everything that I wish I had if I was a drag queen, just like comedy, like the looks, the personality, the emotion. And I was so excited to meet her. And my goal was to get her to laugh, because I was like, if I can get Cornbread to laugh, then that will just validate some like, I don't know, something inside me. So when I walked up to her and she was like, oh, hi, I'm Cornbread. Like, what's your name? I said, Pita Bread. I thought that'd be funny because I'm Greek and pita bread. And she laughed and she was like, this so caught me off guard. That was so funny. And I was like, okay, you've validated my shitty dad humor over here. So I'm good to go. But
that's amazing. Pita
bread
and
was so
cornbread?
Amazing. Oh, what more can you want? You're right. Unless you're like vegan or something, but whatever. But then she performed and it was just as amazing as she is on the show. Like, she gave it 100%, and it validates for me when queens who go on the show and they just truly show you who they are, and when they're that exact same way in person, it makes me feel like an authenticity that I think is what people are drawn to Cornbread at. So if you have ever chance to see a local queen, go see him.
That ankle is all healed up, I guess, right?
I know. She was fine. She was healed. Yeah, it's been more than 8 weeks, I guess. But yeah, lesson learned.
Yeah.
Well, definitely seen some queens here in Toronto. So like, I've seen, the winner of the season 1. I've seen her before when she did her first show. And so we definitely have those queens hanging around the city.
They're a lot more accessible. Like, I've had a couple who've been on the show just pull me off the street while, and just start talking, like, because they're hosting something at like a local kind of bar or even like a brunch kind of a situation. So they're very kind of just out there, and we have such a small little street that they kind of perform and hang out on.
Just like one street.
It's kind of just one street, to be honest. It's Church Street.
Yeah, we got a little bit bigger here, but I mean, I'm in Boston, and so Jujubee, who's on this season of UK vs. the World, is from Boston, and I've passed Jujubee before and had been completely starstruck. But Juju was out of drag, so all my friends were like, "Why are you freaking out?" I was like, "It's like Jujubee drag queen," and they're like, "It's just a normal person." I was like, "Well, she's not in drag now. Like, we're on the train."
When we were covering, I believe it was season 2 of Canada's Drag Race, we were able to meet some of the pit crew, which was kind of fun. They're always quite handsome. Do you think that there's going to be a pit crew for this season? Because we didn't see anybody, unless I'm forgetting something.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I hope so. I think it definitely adds some enjoyment to the show, for sure. For sure there. I don't know. I know this season was filmed like during COVID, so there could be some limitations there. And based on like the judging panel and like Ruth's kind of entrance, it did seem like they were keeping things kind of, social distance. So I don't know. But I think Ru will never pass up an opportunity to bring in a skimpy go-go boy.
And I do think overall there's like less of them on the UK versions, like from what I recall in general. than you see in the American version, especially like the last episode that we just saw in the American version where they're popping those balloons. They're used quite a bit.
So hard when Georges was popping that balloon. Like it was secondhand embarrassment, like cringe but laughing.
I know.
But, like, it's so endearing.
It was so endearing, but it was also like PTSD from like losing my virginity. It was like almost identically like that I was like, whoo, I'm triggered. Like this is too much here. This is too much. It's too much. But I think you guys are subtly saying that like Americans were trash, right? We like to see the naked bodies and give us a go-go boy. In the UK, they're like, let's focus on the drag. But here we're like, no,
we love it too. So
North American taste, our taste level is just about here.
Yeah.
So we're assuming that Cornbread's foot has been healed because you saw her perform
Correct.
after this must have happened.
She was completely healed. She was doing it all: kicks, drops, splits, spins, everything. So hopefully she'll be back next season. I think that everyone would want to see her back next season. And she was truly one of my front runners. So I've lost a lot of bets that I had. So that's great. But
I know a lot of people that did some drafts and picked Cornbread #1. And so they're probably really hurt that she's taken out this way because like it wasn't something that they could foresee. You know, they were really sold on her talent and her abilities, but then just taken out by an injury, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we have instead of it's like the work entrances look, instead this way they're coming out onto the stage in kind of a look. So first up was Bag of Chips, the People's Princess. I only have limited experiences with Bag of Chips, but what do you think about her entrance and her coming out first? What do you think that was, specific?
I think it was specific. I think people who have seen UK1 know that Ru loves Bag of Chips. Like Bag of Chips can do no wrong in Ru's eyes. And I think that she embodies what a huge portion of British drag is, which is it is high camp. It's prioritizing camp over, the pageantry that we do here in the US. So she's owning it. I think that her coming in first was setting the tone of like, this is who we're basically saying is going to represent the UK in the best way and show you kind of what that UK drag is. I think the People's Princess thing was cute. It was a nod to Princess Diana. So I think she did the job well. And I think having them come out on the runway was better than them going into the workroom because this is supposed to be an elevated competition, right? So I liked it.
I love Bag of Chips.
I want to be friends with her.
That is to Bag of Chips aesthetic, absolutely, like looking like that. But at the same time, I didn't love the dress. I sit right on the fence of like, is it a toot or boot? I don't know. I didn't love it. I didn't love the cut. I didn't like where it fell on her ankles. The whole thing was like, I know it's very her, you know what I mean? So I was like, let's see what else you bring later on. But I think it was appropriate to be first. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, maybe she was leaving herself some room to kind of elevate her look throughout the competition, maybe. But for me, she is the type of queen that can't really do no wrong in my eyes either. Because she just I thought it was funny that she said she got some filler because she's a little bit more rich now, which is funny. But I just think her face, I think that how she paints, it's really pretty. It's just and she's funny and she's campy, she's British, and so she kind of has everything that I like in a drag queen. So I'm always going to be rooting for her, even if I don't love her dress, because she just kind of makes up for it in every other element. So I totally get what you mean, Jonathan, but I'm so obsessed with the UK that I don't.
We'll talk about her painted face later on. The other painted face, I don't know about that one.
That's
but
true.
We'll talk about that later on. This was okay. Yeah,
we will get there. Hi, Adrian. So Adrian says the fact that we got both bag of chips and Jimbo is going to be so chaotic. I know. I'm obsessed with psychos, basically. Anybody that thinks outside of the box. I think it's because I'm an Aquarius, and so I like things that are unique and just they're not just typical. And so neither of them are typical, and I'm always intrigued and excited about what they're going to bring to the table. So I hope they have a challenge where they have to work together and they work together well. I want to see something.
They're friends, they know
each other.
That's true.
Sure, yeah, that's true.
And Jimbo brought her breastplate, and so we're all good.
What could you want?
Yeah.
I hope that they have a really good challenge together. That would be
or just seeing them in Snatch Game together. That would be like, that would be. I don't even think I could watch it. I'd be too excited. I'd be like, I have to leave.
I hope there's a Snatch Game, and it's probably gonna be. Do you think it's gonna be episode 5, like kind of usual?
Ooh, I don't know. They don't have a lot of queens this year,
Maybe
so I
earlier,
feel like I think earlier because they want to be able to showcase all of the talent. So I'm thinking like 3, 4. I think it'd be around there.
Yes, I mean I love the Snatch Game. Obsies. Hi, Sophie. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so next up is Blue Hydrangea. I don't remember what she was wearing. She's from North Island. She was really pretty. She's blue.
Yeah, blue with like the Marge Simpson hair. Yeah,
neon-ish with the neon green and blue. Personally, I loved it. I was like, absolutely painted. And then the whole head to toe look, I thought was like, great. This is what you need to be doing when you are coming to this type of a show for sure. And especially when it's your international representation. I was like, yeah, thank you.
I think there was definitely an elevation there from her drag from season 1 that I wish Baga had more of. Like, it seems like Blue really took the time to hone in on her art, because something that Blue has that a lot of the other queens don't is she can paint these amazingly artistic faces and things. Not a lot of other queens can do that. So for her to do it in a way that is so polished, it showed to me the elevation. And I also wish that she had worn that outfit though later on in the show. I think her entrance look was a winner look to me.
Much better.
But still loved it. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, now that I remember what it was, I just remember her eyes just really popped. And so like I'm gonna be looking at her looks because I like the way she paints, and I find that she's really unique. And so I'm excited to see how she progresses and grows. And I want to see a little bit more of her sense of humor, because it was kind of coming through a little bit, but as we kind of already kind of talked about a bit, we didn't enjoy her second look as much. So I hope that she just got that one out of the way, and like everything else is going to be elevated, kind of like her.
She was quite funny in her original season, and she has some looks there, and she showed off what she could paint in her first season as well. So I think now she'll have some confidence, as we always see with returning queens, much more, they're just less nervous about the whole situation. And I feel like she'll do really well. I think she's going to. I think she was 5th place in her season, but I think
5th place.
Yeah, I think she can definitely be a contender for the end. So
I think she is the UK's best chance of winning this for sure.
Really? Okay. What about Cheryl Hull then? She's a death dropping queen. I know her name. I've seen her before, but I can't particularly remember her right now. It's not
so
great.
Cheryl Hull was basically Alyssa Edwards of the UK drag. It's this dancing queen, huge personality. Like, you want to get to know her, you want to have a drink with her, but she doesn't do quite well in the challenges or on the runways. It's just very, very dance mom aesthetic.
She doesn't win anything.
Hasn't won anything. Yep, never, not once. So I think she's great to bring on the show to show that personality, because she has that just complete self-deprecating humor. She's got it on lock. But do I think that what she walked in with would intimidate anybody? No, not at all. I don't think that Cheryl Hull's entrance look was any elevation or anything that I haven't seen before. So I don't know about her just yet.
It was that pink and nude kind of like body with a little feather. I mean, it's fine. It's okay. It's not a season entrance look to me.
No.
And I mean, I like Cheryl. I want to see her do well. And I would like to see her win something this season. So they could have it.
Just one. Get the girl one. Yeah.
So Sophie wants to know what's the difference between this drag race and then the new season that just debuted a couple weeks ago. Yeah. You want to take it, Andrew?
Do it as the correspondent live from Boston. I think the main difference is that we're playing by All-Stars rules, which are that the queens will be sending each other home. So the difference there is that there's an element of strategy and alliance that isn't in a typical drag race season. Typically, the judges get to decide who gets to stay or who gets to go home, well, specifically Ru. But in this UK versus the world, it's the queens deciding that. So there's the element of, do you eliminate a threat? Do you keep the threats because they perform better and as a whole it would make a better show? So there's that point to it that's a little bit different that I love. I think it's great to see the queens get shady and backstab each other, because it gives us those moments that we talk about. To get that, if you can hear a gasp, if you could, or hear a pin drop in a gay bar, that Ru has done something right, because usually it's very loud in there. So that's what we're here for.
So Andrew likes it.
Ru,
You like it, Jonathan?
Well, I was just going to say, Ru, we'll talk about this later, I'm sure, as well. But Ru also picks the winners, and Ru also picks who's in the bottom. And they know about whose relationships are connected to who and who is likely going to send whom home. So it's although it is the queen's picking, I do think you almost know by selecting who wins and who is in the bottom, who they're sending home as well. So it's a bit of an illusion that it's up to the queens, I think, because it's still really up to Ru and the
Ru being shady.
Yeah, like putting in the exact perfect scenario for hopefully the most amount of drama and getting the result that she wants, basically. Even though I'm sad, Jonathan, like I understand now what you were saying to me before with how this episode went down. We'll get to that. We will get to that. Because we were considering doing a draft of some sort, but we kind of was going to be a little bit late on that. So we can discuss if we still want to do that, because Jonathan is right. I would have probably picked the person that went home today, which is what he said. And I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, okay, I know it's going to happen.
I would have too.
So then we have Janie Jackie. Now, she was really pretty, but I kept on forgetting her name. I had to having to rewind back and be like, who is that? And then rewind, oh, yeah, it's her. And like I did it every single time she entered the screen. I was like, who is that?
Who
and
is
I
that?
couldn't remember who it was. And so I don't know if that is indicative of how she's going to perform, but she's from Drag Race Holland. She was the runner-up. So we know that she's very capable. She's very gorgeous, but she's not memorable for whatever reason. You're nodding, Andrew. Is that kind of how she was on her season?
I see. That's what's weird is on her season, she was like neck and neck to win the crown, and her looks were top tier. She won some challenges. She did great in Snatch Game, and I mean, she was the runner up, right? So there was something there that she exhibited that showed that she was drag excellence. But on her entrance look, it seemed like there wasn't that same passion that was there. And you know, I know her name is Janie Jackie. I think her entrance makes her like Janie just okay. Like it was kind of just like meh. So I don't know. I was kind of hoping she would like really just have stuff like that she was keeping in her bag, maybe to show later. But I think as your introduction to the world, you know, I think there's more that she could have done that would have made people, to your point, remember her, because this is your first time meeting her. A lot of people don't know she was on Holland. So yeah, I was pretty let down because she was one of my favorites on Holland to win it all. And so when she came on this, I was like, yes, she's here. And then I don't know, just completely disappointed.
Like on a regular season, I think she would have been middle of the ground on a like a regular look kind of a thing. So I mean, same thing. I kept forgetting her. I wasn't aware of her. I do think she's like the trade of the season for me. But anyway, I also think that you know, if she elevates,
cute. She's very cute. Sorry,
if she elevates a little bit more and brings more to the table than the few looks that we had seen in this episode, I think she can do really well. But I also think she's comparative to Lemon. And when, you know, she kind of like brings me the same characteristics, minus the yellow. So it's kind of like, they kind of like the couple of them look the same. I thought like Lemon and Janie kind of like were the same kind of type of drag almost too. And just didn't, you know, elevate it enough for me. But yeah, I am looking forward to see how well she does, and I think she can do very well. I just need to see her, like Andrew said, bring it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So Adrian's saying is, I mean, how can you beat Envy Peru that season? So tell me about Envy Peru. I do not know who this is.
So Envy Peru was the winner of Drag Race Holland season 1. And going into it, Envy had a huge fan base. So there was a lot of speculation that Envy Peru would do well, and Envy Peru completely smashed the competition. There's no denying that. But I think that's why I was so disappointed with Janie Jackie on UK versus the World, because she gave Envy Peru a run for her money on Drag Race Holland. It truly could have been either of them. So I was expecting that. I mean, look at that. Come on. Like,
I mean, she's gorgeous.
So unfair.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'm interested though to go watch Holland now, because if these are the top two, I like the aesthetic. You know,
Holland has, and it's surprisingly, some of the best runways I've seen in Drag Race history. Like iconic, amazing runways you would never even think of, and they rarely get talked about. So if you haven't watched it yet, you definitely should.
And it's subtitled, right?
Correct. It is.
Yeah.
They do have subtitles. Yeah. But a lot of them, like Janie Jackie, a lot of them speak English. They go back and forth, so it's very accessible. Yeah.
And then we have Canada's favorite, Jimbo, coming out. Our Canadian clown with big boobs. You're a fan. I'm a fan.
Such a fan of Jimbo. Oh my God.
He's kind of a bit of a friend of the podcast. So Nick's, I think, his first boyfriend's brother or something. And so at one point we were contacting him to try to get to talk to him. But he kind of got too famous. Like if we did maybe like the week before the show aired, we probably would have been able to get him on. But after that, like everybody's like, oh, can you talk to my manager? Like even Juicebox was like, yeah, you're gonna have to talk to my manager. And it's like, oh, okay, no.
Like your manager, aka your mom. You want me to call your mom?
Exactly, or your best friend. Like,
someone.
Well, there's a new. I mean, since then there's a new agency which I'm friends with the owner of it, but that represents a lot of the queens. So that's exciting for me. But I think they're more accessible now than they were necessarily at the very end of season 1 because it kind of came about in between. But Jimbo's so good. Jimbo was one of my favorites in Canada's Drag Race from the get-go. I love just how she's like super tall as well. It kind of gives me I just like that, like RuPaul's super tall, and I just like how everything sits on them and how they can wear stuff, and it's just grandiose and just the whole, you know, like we mentioned earlier, the chest plate, and then the fact that she's a clown, like, you know what I mean, like just like could be a monster as well. I mean, I love it. So Jimbo, I love the clown drag that she brought to the entrance look, and it's what I was expecting too. So good job.
Yeah, I think Jimbo is so other, right? And it's very rare on Drag Race to see someone do other and do it well. So I think everyone was just taken to Jimbo on Canada's Drag Race season 1. But something I'm excited for is for Ru to interact with Jimbo, which we do get some of in this episode, which was everything I had expected, because Jimbo is just insane and in the best way. And I love
hungry
Jimbo.
Mama.
Oh my God. I know. I was like, only Jimbo can dress as a pregnant, like sperm ghost with deli meat and have literally everybody being like, work. Like never in my life would I have expected that. And like Jimbo is my trade of the season. I think Jimbo is, oh my God, you know, Jimbo's into some crazy weird stuff, and like let's do it.
The only odd thing for me is, why is Jimbo in the confessional / interviews wearing the same shirt?
The same shirt as she did
season 1 Drag Race, Canada's Drag Race. I was like, with like the stars with the, I was like, why?
Maybe it's so that people can know who, like, remember who he is or something. Maybe. Like, have we looked to see if everybody's drag look is the same?
They're not. No. But that seems like such a Jimbo thing to do, right? To be like, oh, just been wearing this since I was on there like years ago. Just kept
like, maybe it's his lucky shirt. His 4th place shirt, though. So maybe you should change it. Yeah. Change it. So obviously I love Jimbo as well, and we're gonna probably talk a lot more about him. So then another Canadian who I really think is endearing, and when I had picked her on my draft team when we covered that season of Drag Race, is Lemon. So I think she did have a Drag Race glow up with the lip filler. I like Lemon, and she does still seem a little bit young, but I think she's very pretty, and I think that she still has really a lot of potential. So what are your thoughts on Lemon?
I love Lemon. I think that, you know, there's a lot of queens who try to take a color and run with it and do their whole drag around it. And I think Lemon does it in a way where it's still polished, it's still beautiful, it's still sexy. Because then you have queens like Tina Burner who try to take orange, and it's just it's a hot mess. But but Lemon is just so charismatic and sexy and confident. And I think that Lemon is kind of where drag is going more towards. And I'm really excited for her. I was so happy to see her. I think her rapping skills are amazing. Really, really excited. I loved her runway too. Thought it was beautiful.
I mean, it's not a mistake that Lemon did a music video with Priyanka, and then Lemon's, you know, rap verse was really the star and became viral and whatnot. Lemon's my favorite, my number one from Drag Race Canada. And you know, I just wanted to see from that first season that we saw Lemon in, just elevated looks. I mean, they were very basic. And Lemon also spent about 4 years in New York as well. So she's very familiar with the New York drag scene too. So I'm like, you know what's out there, Lemon. Like, let's bring it. And I do think that she did bring it. Now, I know there's been some talk about the saturation of the color yellow in that opening look, and it was not really there. But and you know, some people were reading her for her the gloves. That's not really in right now, the whole gloves with the nails on them, on the gloves, you know. But I don't mind it. I thought the overall look was so much better than what we've seen. And I could definitely appreciate it. And I was like, yes, this is Lemon's time. Let's do this. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Lemon as well. And I think that I think she has a lot to grow, but I spoiler alert, really wish that she gets the opportunity, because I do think that being around some of these international queens, she is a little bit more ideas. She has, you know, Jimbo there with her from Canada as a little bit of a support system. I do think that if she had just another little opportunity, we would get a chance to see her shine and really fulfill her glow up. And so I kind of think that she might be a little bit of a robbed goddess, but
for sure.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles, I guess, sometimes.
For sure.
Now, Pangina Heels is the co-host of Drag Race Thailand. So she's a favorite of yours, it seems, Andrew.
I love her, yes. Love her. So she is basically the RuPaul of Drag Race Thailand, which I think is very risky, right? To say you're going to go from being the host, the one making the decision, to then be a contestant and being judged in front of the person whose namesake this is, right? That's a lot to live up to. And on Drag Race Thailand, Pangina was known for just insane looks. Like, Ru always looks beautiful, not taking that away from Ru. But Pangina knew that like every episode was a chance for her to show that, oh, I am also at the top of my game in drag, and she did it. And I think her entrance look was amazing. I loved how it was pageanty, but it said Thailand, and she had the crown. So she was kind of letting the girls know that like, I'm already a winner because I was a judge. Like, I was the cream of the crop here. So I'm really excited for the world to meet Pangina. I think she has a lot of energy and personality and has the fashion to back it up, which is really important.
Yeah, she's going to be the fashion queen for sure. I was unfamiliar with her, and I do think I applaud the big risk it is to now finally compete. And she's giving me like that kind of like Raja vibes mixed with like picks, you know, someone else who was a fashion queen in later seasons as well. And I'm like, okay, you're always going to look polished. You're going to bring it. I'm going to look forward to seeing what you're wearing as well. And I will never be let down. I don't think that she's quite capable of letting anyone down look wise.
So Adrian is saying here that Pangina was literally a walking Met Gala on Thailand. That's really exciting to hear, because that means that she's always going to be elevated, but is always going to be maybe outside of the box and just have an extra element that's just like a wow factor. And I'm always into a wow factor. And the fact that she knows or has an idea of how her looks may be judged, and being able to see like, oh, this might not land with the judges. I think that her having that critical eye will be really exciting to see how well she does. Because I was worried for her, because it's kind of like, sometimes it's, you know, you get to just like, you don't have anybody critiquing you. You just get to be like kind of relaxed and lazy about it if you chose to. And so coming onto the show, having to really step it up all the time, I was like, hopefully she'll be able to do it. And after this episode, I have all the confidence.
Oh, she can dance. Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
I was like, it's not just the looks. It's like, you can, I bet you're funny as well. I bet she can do the acting challenges. I'm like, you can dance for sure. So I'm like, everyone else better watch out, because Pangina's coming for you. Pangina's on your heels, you know what I mean?
And Pangina, actually, I take it back. She's the trade of the season.
Oh,
I mean, gorgeous, like bone structures. I was like, oh my God, I need to moisturize just to watch this episode. I feel so dry and crunchy. I'm like, I need to get this.
Go to Jonathan. He's our skincare expert for the podcast, so he can help you out for sure. So the first of two U.S. queens that we're all familiar with. So we have Monique Hart. So she was from season 10 and All Stars 4.
Yes.
Of course, I know Monique. I think I had drafted her on either original or her All Star season. I like her, but I'm not sure if she lives up to her attitude.
Yeah, she came in real spicy. Spicy.
She wasn't brown brown cow stunning this episode for me. I love Monique, and she has a lot of moments that are iconic in Drag Race, but at the same time, that look with the purple and the green neon hair, I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know about it. So it was the look itself, just to start off with, was a little interesting for me. I'm not sold on it.
Yeah, I think Monique brings that personality, right? She brings that charm, that sass, and it's what she had done in her previous seasons. But something about her time and what they were kind of showing in this episode was very aggressive and very like almost sassy, but it didn't seem like there was no fun in there. Like it just seemed all sass. And I find that's just really strange for someone who's never won before to come in with that much confidence. That's just me. I wouldn't do that. Is it a read if it's true? I don't know. Like I just thought that was crazy, because then I don't know, just like why are you coming in that hot? You've been a runner up, and then the first time I think she came in like 8th or 9th place. So it just seems a lot of cockiness for that. I agree with you, Jonathan. I think her runway was cute, it was pretty, but there was a lot going on. I don't necessarily know if it showed who she is as a drag queen. I think she did that much better at the runway at the end. But I think she's there to bring the heat, which is maybe why they cast her on this season.
Well, this is what I have. I don't know if it's a problem, but why I prefer Drag Race UK is that they're able to be shady, but it's funny, and they're able to kind of take the piss out of each other in a way that I don't feel like it always is hurting someone's feelings, or it's mean, or it seems well or mean intended. And so how, like, if someone from the UK did the exact same bit that Monique Hart did, people would be like, oh, funny, oh, you know, like they wouldn't, it wouldn't land the same, and it would be considered to be kind of funny. So I wish that the US queens were able to be shady in a way that was a little bit funnier. I guess that's what it is. Well, it wasn't funny.
They talk about it later on, the need and desire that you could feel within them that they want to win. So they kind of will. Listen, I like that. I like watching that in the US. I like having both versions, and that's why we have all these other versions. You know, going to the UK and watching the UK kind of more of a lighthearted kind of subtext and tones that they don't really cut that deep. But I also like having ones that do. I just feel like Monique maybe doesn't have the right people to play off of yet to show kind of her funny and quirky side to her.
So Adrian has a good point here. Adrian says, I have a little bit of a problem with the edit for so far. Mo is getting, because why are you making the only Black queen this season so shady? And when I saw her coming out, I was like, why is the only Black queen like so shady? You know, and I know it is part of her personality, but I do agree that they could have made it look a little bit less mean, you know? I definitely agree with that, and I'm going to keep my eye on that, because she is going to be the only Black queen this season. So I would like to see how she's going to be presented to us. Hopefully it's not stereotypical, unfortunately, which happens all the time. And then lastly, we have sweet Jujubee, who you seem to have had a run in with.
Jujubee, my Boston neighbor,
Yes, who's a finalist every time. So we know she knows how to get to the end. How do you find her entrance?
I love Jujubee. I will say this. Was I excited to see Jujubee? No. And only because, you know, you're excited to see people that you haven't seen in a while. I feel like Jujubee has literally been on as many seasons as Michelle Visage. Like, Juju is always there. I think she just goes and Rue's carry on from like place to place to place, because it's just like, it's crazy to me how everywhere she is. And I think the concern I have for Jujubee is I don't know what else she can bring to the table that we already haven't seen. Like, she was just recently on All Stars 5. She did fantastic, but I think it's a risk to bring back a queen like her again for a 4th time. It's the first time in Drag Race history that's ever happened that a queen has competed on 4 separate seasons. So I wonder.
Her contract just never runs out.
Never
like
runs
4
out.
years.
Never
It's
runs
like,
out.
oh, renewed. It's gonna like presidency, right? Oh, let's just get reelected back into.
She was also on that drag singing competition that Michelle Visage was a
Queen of the Universe.
Queen of the Universe. There you go. So I mean, and here's the thing, and I love Juju is one of my top 10s for sure. But I love Juju, and I think she's funny, and she does so well in a lot of these challenges. Look wise, I'm like, girl, you must be 5 feet tall. I'm like, make yourself look taller in your appearance. and bring something more. Like, I want bigger drag. I want more.
Yeah.
The entrance look that we saw with the black dress with the dragon, nice, but it's I was like, this is typical Juju and not typical like what I want to see in a drag competition, especially an international one. I want over the top, I want big, especially because I don't see that from Juju ever. And so I love to see Juju disappointed in the attire kind of once again. And yeah, it's like, you know, we see Juju every season. It feels like almost like Raven I know does Rue's makeup. I'm like, do you do her hair now or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, she was on Queen of the Universe, but this season is going to be Queen of the Mother Tuckin' World, and they get to also record a duet with RuPaul. So yeah, we do see RuPaul coming out on a kind of a scaffold type thing.
She was dusting. Yeah.
Oh, right. While she's explaining a little bit about the rules, I wasn't that excited to see Rue how she entered here. I thought that she could have maybe done a better job. I'm not sure why she chose this entrance. I would have
it definitely seemed weird.
On a screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seemed weird because obviously she wasn't up there, right? Rue was not hanging out on a lift the entire time while these queens are walking in. But yeah, it did seem weird. And then when she announced the prizes, it seemed even weirder to me. I was like, oh, okay, that's it.
Money? Anything else? Oh, they said something about a charity, I think.
Yeah, I think money goes to charity and you get a single to record with Rue. But I mean, we could all record a single and put it out tomorrow. So that doesn't seem like it. Just, if this is like the whole world, right? It should have been something more grandiose than that.
It's like based in the UK, and the UK always gets shafted with prizes. So
yeah, right, exactly. Here's a badge. Yeah.
No, what was worse was the Australian and New Zealand one. They had pretty bad prizes as well, but I was just like, I thought it looked like something was cut or edited out or something. I just didn't understand it as well. But it was all right. It's fine.
So the main stage for this episode is going to be a talent show, which we did see them just do a talent show on the most recent season of the US. I was kind of like underwhelmed by it being a talent show. I wish it was maybe a talent show with a theme or a talent show you can't do a lip sync. I was a little bit underwhelmed by this as a theme, and I was also kind of underwhelmed by the show.
Yeah, it was not a strong talent show performance. I think the great thing or the great potential about a talent show is you're giving each queen the chance to show what they specifically can excel at, right? Like, why do people take to them? And I think you had people like Jimbo that did exactly that, and it was amazing. But then you had people who have done things we've seen before, like Jujubee. We know you can sing, right? Do something a little bit different. Monique Hart, we know you can sing. Do something a little bit different. And I didn't necessarily agree with any of the critiques that the judges necessarily had, especially with Lemon. I thought Lemon was in my top like 3 or 4 in terms of like talent performance wise. So I didn't understand the negative critique that Lemon got for that.
So Lemon started off. So we'll talk about that. And Lemon was the first one. And I was just like, the only critique they really had was that they had seen it before. I'm like, sure, Aja did it once, and we saw that one time. But you know, it's to harp on that was just, I think they just showed, you know, they obviously talk way longer than, you know, that you see, and then they just edit it together to justify things. So I think that's really the only thing that they had to say negative against her. And that's why we saw it repeated a few times, was because no one said anything else. But I really liked Lemon's original song, was lip syncing, and did that raised death drop. I mean, if anything, I would have read her for a pink wig that just looked like you could get that out of a, you know, Party City or something like that. But that's pretty much it. I loved everything else that she had done.
Before we continue on with the actual show, I do want to talk a couple things that happened in the workroom before the lead up. And so we do learn that Bag of Chips and Jimbo met on tour, and they're really good friends. So like we already briefly discussed, I'm so excited to see more of that duo, because they
were already fooling around. Like Jimbo was pushing back on the, I'm like, that's great.
They're going to be a trip.
Like, please keep them to the end. I would love to see them final two. That'd be so fun.
Monique, and this is where we saw Monique and Juju kind of reading all of the room as well. And like what did they say about Baga's white dress and black bra underneath? And I was
they said it had no polish or something like that.
I kind of like,
which they're not wrong.
And I love them having tea with Bag of Chips, and she's teaching them all British slang. Like, that was a fun moment, and hopefully that's like a continuous segment, because she definitely can lead a segment, and I enjoyed that as a British person. You know, my family's from England. I'm just like, I love having a little British tea time.
Dogs, bollocks, and slapper, and
exactly,
and
dogs and phone. I remember
quintessential.
learning all those little things. Absolutely. Blue had a little bit of a diva moment, Monique Hart had a diva moment with Blue, and she kind of did the producers encourage her to go up and say something? Because I would think that Monique Hart would be a little bit intimidating to be able to go and say, like, hey, like, I hated you and I thought you were a bitch when I first met you, but now I think you're okay.
But it's newfound confidence that I was talking about earlier as well, right? So
I think it just seemed, again, like there's this edit that they're shaping around Monique that is like this villain, this sassy, this aggressive American, because they mentioned multiple times throughout the episode, like, oh, everything was fine until the Americans came in, or like all the vibes were good and then the Americans came in. And I was like, this is just some UK producing over here. Like, what's going on?
But I mean, I loved Monique taking the opportunity to be shady even further when she was like, oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. You know, all of us have an Alyssa Edwards moment. Like, it's like, I was like, oh
yeah. Not that. And then she said, like, I'll call you when I need a zip or something. And I was like, there it is. Yeah.
So I'm happy. Hopefully that's squashed. And it's not like an indicator of maybe drama down the road, that they're kind of like, hey, we're going to show you this now, and then it's going to repeat itself later on. So we'll see how that plays out. So speaking of outfits, RuPaul's outfit, I didn't enjoy this at all. And I usually like her outfits when she does international seasons. I usually think that, like, especially when she did the UK, I thought every single look when she came out to introduce the judges was always amazing. And this one seemed to me unfinished. She kind of looked like a Barbie doll, but like it didn't look like I wanted more of a gala kind of look.
She looked like a Barbie doll that someone had tried to like crimp their hair, like at home themselves, you know, when we all did that. And then you like burned the head of the Barbie. It looked like that a little bit. Yeah, it didn't seem as, again, like I was expecting, because this is truly the Olympics of Drag Race. I was expecting something grand and big, and I didn't get that this time. So we'll see.
I agree.
So, as usual, Michelle Visage is going to be one of the judges. We have Graham Norton, who is super funny. Do we know if he's going to be on the whole season, or if he's going to be going back and forth with?
I think he is.
Yeah, usually is, right?
He's funny, so I like him. And Mel C, who I was happy to see. I just watched her on Dancing with the Stars, and I thought she was robbed. She went home. She went home earlier than I expected her to, and so I was really happy to see her, because I do think she's very talented, and it's underrated.
No, I was. You go first.
I was gonna say, I love how she shades, Jerry anytime.
Yeah. I love that. But I also thought she gave some amazing critiques and was not afraid to hold back, which a lot of the times the guest judges are. But she was going in, and I was like, valid. They were all valid points, but I didn't think she would. So I was very impressed with that.
Yes, I think she's a great judge, and I'm happy to see her again on my screen. So back to Lemon. I agree that, like, I didn't think it was the best. And one of the critiques that Lemon ends up getting was that she didn't show face. And I understand that from a performer's perspective. When you're dancing, there's something about having to put on that performance face, that performance energy. And I didn't feel that from Lemon. There's something about like finishing your movements and like doing it full out. It seemed a bit like she was marking it, and it didn't have that feeling of like wanting to connect with that person at the back of the room. It just felt quite small and not performance energy enough. And so I understand that.
Speaking on that, it's like, I think if Lemon really exaggerated her makeup more so and made it more kind of draggy, it would be she wouldn't have to push so hard with the face, because she just does this kind of like this one face thing, which I think could work if she You know, like look at someone like Trixie. You could never tell what Trixie's doing face wise because the makeup.
You don't even know where Trixie's eyes are.
Yeah. So if she had more exaggerated makeup, I think she could get away with just kind of less facial, but she doesn't. And so she needs to really amplify it up. So it's a good point. It's true.
Well, and like I said, like you have to perform for the person at the back of the auditorium. And that's like, that's how much energy that you have to give. If it's over enunciating your face, like even if it's that, it would give the illusion at least that you're really giving that energy. It was too small. She was giving it a performance energy for a dance studio and not for a stage. And so I think that is why she wasn't able to get the respect from the judges of it being a really good performance, because it seemed like it was still marking. It was still in the practice round. It wasn't ready for the stage. And so I was like, I didn't think it was bad though. So I thought that she was like, it was an okay start, especially because it was her own song. So I was like, okay, it's your own song. And you did the couple jump splits, a couple funny lines. So I'm like, okay, that's not bad. It's not bad, but I could be better, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I think nerves were a bit into it too. Like I think going the first time ever performing in front of RuPaul, right? I think that there's definitely nerves there. But I think the critiques that, they've seen it before, they're the same judges who every time a queen does a jet drop, they gag over it. So I'm like, where was that thought process when you applied it to the other queens who sang or did things that they've always done? I didn't understand that. And at the end of the day, I would pay to see a lemon show. There's some queens that performed on the episode that I don't think I would pay to see. So absolutely. I didn't understand or agree with the critiques.
Agreed. And Monique comes out next, and I thought she looked amazing. She was singing. I felt like she kind of looked like
Tina Turner.
Tina Turner is what I wrote down. Like, and like she had like a big piece on the side, and like her hair, and she was showing that her, like Tina Turner, like, right there.
Tina Turner.
Yeah, I wrote it down too.
Showing that her wig was stuck on, like doing all her head whips, But that's something that she's kind of already done before, I think. Like, I wasn't wowed. I wasn't surprised. I thought she looked great. I thought she did a good job. But if we're going to like things that we've seen before as the critique, I've seen it before. I would like to have been surprised by what you brought to the table.
She was singing with vocal support, like really singing though. And that vocal support, there was 2 tracks that happened on. I think the other one was Juju, that it was just too loud. And like it had this like double effect, like this weird, it was weird for me. And so I don't know that Monique for me is like the one that I really want to hear sing live. Like, I don't think I'd be going to her shows for that. So I was hoping that she could do something else. I didn't love it, to be honest with you. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I didn't love it either. I think the problem I had was, I think Lemon Walsh might have had like a lack of energy. Monique started up here and it never went anywhere. It stayed up here the whole time. Like the tone of her voice, the fiery movements, everything was at 100. So there was no peaks or valleys. There was no like aha moment. There was no wow anything. So was it good? Yes. Could I do what she did? Absolutely not in a million years. But in the realm of Drag Race, I wasn't excited about it. I don't think I would pay to see that over a Lemon show still.
Nope. Yeah. Sorry, Monique. Then we have Janie Jackie, and I wanted to like this. I wanted to. And I was like, ooh, reveal. Ooh, reveal.
See, the problem is, and I'll say this because I've watched many shows, you watch them in Vegas, you watch them on America's Got Talent. Any quick change dress is never going to be elevated. It needs to be a certain material. It needs to be a certain, fabric. Like, so none of them looked good. And then there was just a bunch of bodysuits too. But I just didn't understand. And there's a way to do quick change to make it way more exciting, which I've seen 1,000 times. This wasn't that. So I also thought the odd song choice. It was like a low energy club beat. That you like, were you lip syncing to kind of? I mean, weird choices today. Weird choices.
So weird. And like, what's funny is the second she came out, I was like, oh, she'll have a wig reveal, right? Because that thing was so ugly. I was like, it'll be the first to go. And then that jacket came off and just like hung there, and I was just like, I truly don't know what her motivation was. I was getting kind of like a burlesque reveal type of feel, because some queens in previous seasons have done burlesque and done a lot of reveals. So I think she was trying to go for like a sexy elevated version of that. but everything was just so ugly that it was like that was what I was looking at. And to your point, Jonathan, like her like mouthing every third word, I was like, are you lip syncing or are you not lip syncing? Like
what's happening?
What's happening here? Yeah, because it was like that friend in the back of the club that's just like, lipping along to the words because they don't really know the words. That's what it felt like to me. It was very weird. It was so strange.
What you're doing and let us know that this is what you're doing. Yeah.
And she's a fierce performer, and she showed that on her original season, and that's why I don't understand why you would choose that for your entrance into like the rest of the world. It was just very. Right. She was by far the worst talent show in my opinion. I don't think there was any others that I thought were worse.
Well, Adrian's pretty much agreeing with all of us here. So Janie's reveals, in my opinion, are not a talent and did she even try to lip sync to that track? No, no. It was just so bizarre. And like, if I think that a reveal and a striptease, both of those things could be an interesting talent. Like if she did a whole story with like some sort of lip sync and like it made sense and it like had a beginning, middle, and end, and like it could have worked, but it didn't have a full thought. It wasn't a full performance. It was just like bad reveal after bad reveal with a bad song and a bad lip sync. I'm like, where was the through line here? It didn't make sense. It didn't come together.
I mean, look at Pheromone. Pheromone did like kind of like a burlesque. I mean, slipped, but like minus that, just did like that worked way more better than this did for me. So I was just like, just the intent. I just was confused at the concept and the whole thing. So anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing more of her later on. Like,
I hope so, because if she's gonna steal Lemon's spot, she better bring it. To be honest. But she's very pretty though, so I think that's also what probably saved her, is that like both Lemon and her are gorgeous, but I haven't seen what's her name, Janie's face. I can't remember her name. Janie's face, and so I do want to see what her painted face looks like more often, and her trade boy look is handsome too. So I want to see more, just because I don't know them, but it better be better than what she brought to the table today. So Bag of Chips sings a song that seems like she wrote, Much Better. She's a singing maid. It was fun, but it wasn't that great. Like, I enjoy it because I love Baga. I don't think that it's the best. Maybe it is the best, actually, out of the first four. But
I just think it's like, I get it. Bag of Chips, like the Much Better. Like, it's almost screaming One Trick Pony to me. I mean, I love Bag of Chips, but I'm like, you are funny and you have other things going for you. I was just looking for something, because the song was crap. Like it just wasn't good.
It was.
So, and I'm just like, I, want to see more and not what you brought. I wasn't happy with it.
Yeah, she would have been in the bottom two for me, for sure. She definitely, and I thought that Baga was a great example of when Ru likes a queen, right? They're not going to be in the bottom. Like she was saying, I wrote this song. I was like, girl, it's 2 words. Can you consider that writing? Like it's much better. And I feel like critiques that they've seen it before that were applied to other queens weren't applied to Baga. Baga said much better probably 100 times in UK1, right? Like it's, how many times can you laugh at the same thing? Apparently Ru said continuously. So I mean, I was not entertained by it. It didn't like wow me, and I was very shocked that Baga wasn't in the bottom.
So Baga's was cute. It's so Baga, and it definitely fits her. Baga kind of saved the show after that. I'm not sure.
What do you mean save the show? What do you mean?
What do you mean save the show? Because I'm like, I don't
Baga
know.
like low here, and we love Baga, but we just want Baga to do better. So
much better.
Much better.
But we do know that Ru likes to milk a joke, because like the Willow pill, like that's coming like over and over again. I think that she likes the much better joke, and we saw with Lawrence Janie, like she loves to just flog a dead horse here. And so I think that that's what's saving Bag of Chips here, is that like she's just using that same one trick pony, and she's gonna see if she can milk it to the end, which she might be able to. She might. Then we have Canada's favorite, Jimbo, in a white latex clown ghost pregnant with a Brazilian butt lift and a meaty tuck. Is that what that was?
I was like pregnant alien Babadook Conehead kind of. Yeah, I don't know what that was, but I loved it. I loved it.
Exactly. I don't know what it was, but I loved it. But I think that's what's so great about Jimbo is she takes things that you would never think could be entertaining or even good entertainment and just makes it so insane. Like, it was the first time I genuinely couldn't stop laughing the whole episode. I was just like, this is insanity. Like, if you had told me that a contestant would be throwing deli meat at RuPaul and that RuPaul would be loving it, I would have never guessed that. And I think that's why people love Jimbo and why it's insanity. You never know what you're going to get, and it's always funny.
It's the small moments too. Like, even like nearing the end of that performance, Jimbo did this kind of like wave at like one of those like, blown up at selling cars, kind of like, you know, those things. It's just all of that. It's like bringing just so much craziness to it and you commit to it and you believe it yourself. I mean, others will as well. So congratulations.
I got emotional when he opened the box of the no talent box and it was empty. The talent box was empty. I was like,
I know. I thought of Janie Jackie when I saw that. I was like,
I need a shade button, I think, when we chat with you.
Or like a dog.
You're gonna be a shade fan. Absolutely. Yeah, Jimbo, like, honestly, that's what I like about drag personally, is when people can just take me on a journey and it's like it's unexpected and it's unique. And I'm so happy that RuPaul is receptive of this because RuPaul tends to like a certain thing. And I'm happy that she seems to have broadened her horizon as to what she's finding funny, what she's finding to be, what she considered to be a drag queen. I'm happy that she's kind of broadened her horizons a little bit here to allow Jimbo to be excelling this episode. I was worried that she might not be receptive. So, because that's when I was watching Jonathan, I was worried that maybe it was Jimbo that she wasn't going to like and Jimbo was going to go home. So I was like back and forth between Jimbo and Lemon. I'm like, no, she's going to love him. She's going to love him. And she did. I was like, okay. So I'm like, oh, so that means Lemon's going home. I'm like, oh, shit.
No, can I just say, and it's skipping ahead a little bit, but can I just say how you knew it was going to be Canadian queen? Because it wasn't going to be a UK queen because Michelle wouldn't have let him. And it wasn't going to be an American queen. He wasn't having that. And you knew it wasn't going to be a queen that they're the only representative of their country.
Yeah.
So I was like, what does that leave? That leaves Canada. And Jimbo ain't going anywhere. So anyway, just skipping ahead, but.
Very true. So we have Cheryl Hull. All I wrote down was I'm a star lip sync.
Well, that's what it was.
I actually do not remember.
It was Cheryl being Cheryl. I think that's what she
ago.
does. Yeah, memorable. So it was memorable.
The original song lip sync. It was a comedy song. I thought it was a decent outfit. It was a bodysuit with a jacket. It was fine, and it had some funny moments in the song. So it was definitely better than like a Baga song or whatever for me. So I thought it was fine. Could be in trouble if everyone else did amazing or good, but it was middle of the road for me.
It's definitely middle or bottom for me because I literally don't remember this, which is I don't think it's great. I don't remember the person that sang a song that said I'm a star.
Clearly you're not a star, which is ironic because then she came out in Stars later on just to remind you that she's the star.
I remember that. I remember the Stars. I don't remember what she looks like though. I don't know if I just watched it too quickly and it's like it hasn't sunk in yet. But
there were some rumors online that Cheryl was not originally supposed to be on this season, that it was supposed to be Astina Mandela from UK2, and that she dropped out at like last minute. So they kind of got Cheryl to come on. And now, granted, that's a rumor, but based on what I'm seeing, I buy that. Like Cheryl is just doing Cheryl. There doesn't seem to be any elevation or effort. And it's funny, it's entertaining, but it's just not on the same level as some of the other queens are.
Do you know who I would have loved to have been, but there might be too famous now. I would have loved Bimini.
Bimini,
like being part of this crew would be so fun. Like I think her looks are amazing. I think that she's very smart, but she's kind of has a little bit of the weirdness and like doesn't take herself too seriously. She she references a lot of things that I find interesting.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see
I
Bimini
do think they're saving some of them for like
for next season.
Yeah.
All-Stars or
Yeah.
something, the UK All-Stars.
Yeah. I think they want to see if this does well in the UK, right? If it does well, sure, I think they'll keep like kind of getting them out there. But yeah, Bimini is one of my favorites. If I get a dog, I'm naming them Bimini Von Barklash. That's been like a dream of mine for forever.
Well, I know
my other half would
Jonathan
appeal,
is trying to get me to adopt a puppy here or buy a puppy. So like maybe we can hook you up and you'll have
yeah, just send one to me. Mail it. Yeah, it'll be fine.
I agree with you, Adrian. Jimbo is kind of giving me a little bit of Will Pill talent. Was excelled to chaotic amounts of weird. Yes, it was. Yeah. I like that stuff. I'm a weirdo. Yeah, Cheryl was definitely safe. I totally agree with that too. Jujubee singing in a yellow dress. That's all I wrote down. I didn't really care for it. I thought she was good.
This is where we have that double vocal thing again. Like the background vocals was like weird. It's real singing, which we've seen Juju do a million times.
Yep.
And Juju's a decent singer. I don't know that I need, and I just watched Juju sing on that other show, so it was kind of like, I you know what? To me, the dress was not great, and the hair is always too simple. So, and it's just the same talent that you had at All Stars. I just want, like, you have to have something else in your bag of tricks. Like show me something. Show me something.
Yeah, and I think what's disappointing about Juju is when I think about Jujubee's like what she's great at, I think comedy right away. I think she's great at reading. She's great at stand-up. Do that, right? Prove that, like, usually when queens do comedy at a talent show, they go home or they place in the bottom. But I think Juju could have done amazing. To your point, we've seen her sing, and she's a good singer, but she's not like that. Like when you're competing with Jimbo, that's never going to compare. But I think do comedy, that can really compare. And I think what's telling was the best part of Jujubee's talent was when Jimbo said, I would take a flame to that dress. Like that was the only time. That was the only time I laughed and enjoyed it. And it had nothing to do with Jujubee. Light her dress on fire.
Yeah, so I actually think it was poorly constructed as well, to be honest with you. It just seemed like if you looked at it from the side with the little hoop thing that you could see like black undergarments of some sort, and it was just, I just didn't think it was great.
Yeah, agreed.
Who was the queen in one of, I guess it was, I don't know if it's the most recent, one of the most recent Drag Race seasons where they did a pole dance. And they actually, I was like, they was new to it, and they had done pole just like for a few months maybe, but it was amazing. It was a black queen, if I'm remembering correctly.
Shea Coulee did it on All Stars 5. Yeah.
And I thought that was amazing. And like, I hope that she continued to practice that and like get that really a lot better. I just don't know why other queens haven't like been like, that's a good idea. Let me get that going. Like, I think
there's a queen on Australia, Scarlett Adams, that did a
really good
pole job, and it was amazing. But yeah, I agree. Like do something different, right? Like, and I feel like with talent shows, whenever it's on lip syncing to a track, so are 80% of the other queens that are going to do a talent. Like, do something that is truly unique, like Jimbo.
Exactly. So I just want to see other things. Like I want to, I don't care about someone standing with a mic. Like I've been to karaoke. I've been to probably 1,500, maybe more like shows like that in my lifetime, and wish that look for the exit because it's like, it's boring. I don't need to see that ever again from any queen. I don't need to see any queen ever do, I'm going to stand and sing a song.
Well, I think our next queen is a perfect example of taking something that's already been done and then elevating it, because you're mixing some elements. And Vagina. Yeah,
well, Pangina was amazing, gorgeous. So good. I was engaged. I was like, yes, I love her little. I guess it's her trademark, the middle split. I thought she was awesome, so gorgeous. Like
lip syncing an original song. It was reveal dress. It was lots of dancing, and then the whacking. I've seen whacking before, and it was like it was up there with the professionals who can do it. So I mean, like I was really impressed with her whacking. Yeah. I think she took like what Janie was trying to do and made it better. Right? She had a better reveal. She took the lip syncing that a lot of the other queens did. She made it better because she showed her personality. She showed her comedy. And then she did death drops that were unique. I've like that death drop was amazing. That was so good. And I think she truly showed who she was with her talent, where I don't think other queens did, because she knew that this is the first thing that Ru has to go off of, right?
So you have to show Ru why you're here and why you're a competitor. And I was so impressed with Pangina. I think she brought exactly what I thought she would. And I think she's definitely one to watch out for, like for sure.
I can see her getting to the top 3.
Yeah.
Like top 3 right now. The 2 places that I can see is Jimbo, Pangina. I don't know who's in the 3rd spot yet. I'm not sure, but I have to say I did like Blue's cheerleading trio thing. It was a little bit wacky and it was unique, which is what I like. And so it just was a little bit of it was a little bit of a new envisioned version of a lip sync. And so please, people, just do more like that. Like any of those. Okay, if Jujubee had like a hand puppet singing with her, I'd be like, oh, she's amazing. But like, it's just like, let's do something else with it. I like this cheerleader trio.
With Blue's talents, like, have I seen it before on like America's Got Talent or something along those lines? Absolutely, but not on this show. And I thought she had done it well. The song was funny, like Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, which judge do I have to blow? And like all, like it was, it was good. It was good lyrics that were nice to follow along to. So yeah, I think she really has upped her game.
Yeah, agreed. I think that Blue knew that a lot of queens were going to do the whole lip sync thing, so she wanted to take it and elevate it. And I think that she also knows that getting Ru laughing is a way to keep yourself in this competition. And so Ru was loving it. I thought Blue did an amazing job because Blue did what she's great at, which is camp, childlike, but also that dirty twist joke at the end, which I think is hilarious. Yeah, I was impressed with Blue. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. So category is I'm a winner, baby. I was surprised that I wasn't that impressed by this runway. I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, this is supposed to be like the best of the best in your best looks. This should have been like what you would wear on the finals if you were in the top 3 of the season, like how you would want to receive the crown. I didn't really see anybody that were that.
I just want to put a little thing out there. I've heard many times before that often they give them the briefs and then they change them. So it's like similar, but then, if you are kind of a little bit more out there on your version of it, it could then be very out there on it. So I will preface all of this by saying I understand that maybe they told them something slightly different and then altered it game day, really. Maybe I want to think that because some of them were bad.
All I wrote for Lemon was Lemon looked pretty.
Yeah, good. I wrote pageant dress, good wig. I mean, good, but for her, elevated. Nothing like blowing me out of the water, but
I liked Lemon, but I think it's because I had seen what she had done previously, right? So this is almost an exact like upgrade, an evolution of her first like promo shoot for Canada's Drag Race. And I think the problem there is if Ru isn't in on the joke or the judges aren't in on that, right? They're looking at what they're seeing as this is the first time they're seeing you. So if that's the first thing you're seeing of Lemon, it does not look as polished as some of the other queens. But if you look at it in the terms of like, oh, you've taken a previous runway that you've done and completely elevated it, right? That's amazing. I think Lemon's hair and the crown and her makeup was stunning. And Lemon's was not my least favorite at all. I thought she looked beautiful. And I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Michelle who said the critique of like, oh, you're relying on it, the Lemon thing, or you could elevate it. I thought she did it in a beautiful way. I wasn't seeing that at all.
Even if you took away the fact that she was basing it off of a previous look that she had done and really amping it up, even if you took that away, even by itself, standalone, I thought was still decent. So, I mean, don't hate on Lemon.
I'm a Lemon fan. I just thought that she was just
pretty.
It was just pretty. It was just pretty, and because she is pretty, and I think that unfortunately, and I agree with both of you with the fact that Ru doesn't really know her and know that this is actually a step up and that it was an improvement. So it's hard for him to be able to judge her in the same way and have the same like, oh, but she looks better. Like this is good. This is good. So she looks pretty. I wasn't sure if it was a look that was going to be able to save her, with me knowing that Jonathan kind of teased the fact that like the person that goes home is somebody that I would choose. So I was like, man, I don't know if this is a saving look moment. So Monique Hart, I thought was pretty fab.
Stunning.
I thought that she looked good. I love the red hair. I love the hunter emerald green dress. I thought that this was one of my more favored looks. I think that this saved her talent for the most part, because I thought that it was definitely elevated. I thought she looked gorgeous. And yeah, I was a fan of the 180 yards of fabric.
Oh, so much fabric. Yeah, Monique was my top 3 for best looks of the runway. I think she came out, and that to me is her aesthetic. That to me shows her polish. It shows her growth, because on her first season, her looks weren't that. So I was very impressed, and I wish she wore something in that similar vein on her first entrance, because I think that was a little bit more camp, a little more kind of mishmash. But I thought she looked gorgeous, like absolutely fantastic.
I'm gonna have to disagree a little bit on this one. I think
Monique's coming for you.
I think, you can come for me, Monique. But I love Monique. But I just think that the hair color was great. I think that hair looks great on Monique. The fabric gets very heavy, and because of the type of green to like the dark, emerald deep green, I didn't love it. I was like, I could envision it in many other colors, with a little sparkle, with a little something here or there, and I think it would have looked amazing. So for me, it was good, but I just kind of hated the green on her, and I just think it kind of like it looked very matte. So which element? What am I saying? That's what are we talking about? No, the green. Okay, you know what? Take the photo on your computer and like cut and paste it and put a different color in there, and I think she could have looked like amazing. So I liked it. I just thought that it could have been green. So much better.
I didn't like that green. You didn't like the color green. You thought that if it was another color that you would have.
The fabric being that dark and that heavy, it needed something else for me. Anyway, good.
Oh boy, Jonathan chose violence in my eye.
I often do. Yeah.
Spring feels most comfortable. Bag of chips was almost really good, and then the color of the gold or the whatever metallic of her face wasn't the same color as her dress. And I was like, why didn't she do like some sort of like big wig that she like it could have been hard that was at least gold, and it would just been a full like statue type thing. She's supposed to be an Oscar, but she didn't look like an Oscar, because that's not really what an Oscar looks like. I thought that she was going for like statue trophy. She could have done a better job, but I like the idea of it.
A nice sword as well, and I was just like, this looks unfinished is what it looked like, and that makeup was atrocious. It was like Halloween costume makeup for me. It wasn't.
I think this is where we saw Bagga's true talent.
Emerald is Adrian's first start, so don't push it, Jonathan.
The color emerald.
Next, Adrian's gonna be like, and The Wizard of Oz is my favorite movie. But I think with Bagga's runway, we saw like what her true talent is, which is like truly coming out in the ugliest thing that made no sense to the category, and somehow getting by and coming up with some fake concept. Like that to me is a skill. I don't know. Like, I don't think she actually thought she was coming out as an Oscar. I think she latched on to that after the judges said it. I know she said in her confessional, but yeah, I got more Joan of Arc, which Michelle kind of hit on.
Yeah.
I didn't get why the face didn't match the bodysuit. I didn't get it didn't feel like that's what Bagga would actually wear to her coronation if she was a winner. So it was just very strange to me, and probably the only queen that I think their looks have gone down. When you're supposed to see them elevated on All Stars, right? But I'm not getting that from Bagga at all. I'm getting like,
maybe it was the Wizard of Oz theme.
Maybe.
And then they changed it. Maybe Jonathan's onto something. Tin Man, Emerald.
It wasn't it. Even if it was the Wizard of Oz, it was like a busted, or sorry, what was the? It would have been a Minga look.
Minga.
Yeah. So, it was not good. That was a little foreshadowing there.
Yeah.
Looks like Oscar. Right. Like I think that she had something going on, but it wasn't fully thought through, and she needed to go back to the drawing board and kind of revision that a little bit. Jimbo looked stunning.
I love how. Can I just say something? I love how you skipped Janie. You always forget. You always forget.
Man, don't go to Holland anytime soon.
I'm
Damn.
sorry, like she's gorgeous. I don't know why. Maybe I just don't know her personality yet. But she looks gorgeous. I thought. She was wearing that red lace with kind of like
coral, like whole
yeah,
look. Yeah,
nice.
I thought she looked pretty. But again, it looked like the category was like pageant. It didn't seem like extravagant. And what's again shocking is if when you watch Holland season 1, she had some extravagant, crazy good looks. So I'm not sure why we're not seeing that same aesthetic brought here. It doesn't make, this is her third opportunity now, right? Entrance, talent, runway, and none of those have showed me kind of what she's capable of. So yeah, I don't know what her strategy was there.
It was middle of the road. I mean, it looked nice, but it wasn't great. It didn't scream I'm a winner of anything to me. So I didn't get it. It wasn't on theme for me at all. Yeah.
Agreed. I can't believe that I missed it. And it's clear, like it's not intentional at all. I don't know what's going on here. So yes, Jimbo. Maybe I was just more excited about Jimbo with his, black and white look that was really elevated. Looked super expensive. I was worried that like maybe Rue wouldn't like that his face was covered for a second time, that you wouldn't be able to see like a lot of like the painting, but they were into it. So I was so happy that Rue seemed to be really receptive of all of Jimbo's sides this episode.
Yeah. Like queen of the chessboard look. It's almost like a monstrous dress. I do know that online some people were like not thrilled with the paint underneath. It was given a little blackface, is what some people online were saying. And I mean, so a lot of people were kind of iffy on that. So there is a little bit of talk behind the scenes about it.
It's weird when I don't even that didn't even cross my mind at all. I think it's a bit of a reach.
Yeah, it's I mean, like you're not seeing the whole face. It could, I think, because the gaps around the eyes and the mouth were so large that it kind of just gave it that effect. So there is a little controversy over it, but overall, I think the look was fantastic. I loved it. I thought it was, for sure.
Agreed. I think Jimbo wanted to show all these other queens like what they're messing with, and I think like it was by far the best on the runway in my opinion. I think Jimbo did what Jimbo does best, which is like polish, beautiful, but creepy and weird. Like you want to see more. Like every time Jimbo's about to turn the corner, I'm like anxiously waiting because I don't know what I'm going to see. Whereas the other queens, you can kind of guess what you're going to see. There's an excitement there.
It was a little Beetlejuice for me almost. And I was like, I live for that. I'm like, love it. Absolutely.
It was bad.
Me too. Yes, this is how you make a comeback. I definitely feel like Jimbo's here to win. And if he continues on this kind of upward trajectory, I think that he has a really good shot of doing so. So hopefully he brought all the looks, and this is like just the beginning. So I'm excited to see where this goes. So Cheryl Hull, oh boy, another person I don't remember with the stars, white dress with stars. Okay.
Yeah.
And the folded train with this like gold. Okay. That's all I kind of remember about it. I still don't remember what her face looks like.
Little arts and craftsy for me. Didn't love the wig choice with that dress. I was like, if the hair was like up or back or something, I don't know. It just felt like it was two different looks. And the stars just looked like they were like they
clumpy.
She could have made it in like that could have been part of the challenge or something. Like it not wonderful.
No, it looked like very stiff. Like her train that had the gold, it wasn't moving at all. It looked like she bought a white dress and then just attached like actual metal metal stars to it. It was it wasn't great. It wasn't what I was expecting from her. So there was a positive there because I was expecting a bodysuit or some type of feather thing. But still, I think she's not in the same competition as some of the other girls. Yeah, not that great.
I was expecting her to take them off and like do something with them. Because it just seemed like they were like they could come off easily, and it was weird.
Yeah.
And, Liz also says that the blackface comment is a reach. I agree, it's just a little bit, but she thought that this would happen when she saw it. It was a blend. it was too to blend in with the outfit. Absolutely. Like I don't
Agreed.
I definitely do not think that it was to represent a Black person in a way that's derogatory and reminding of the minstrels. I just don't think that was what's going on at all. And so
it's unfortunate people are bringing that up online because that's not the intent. I don't think that was at all. And it's, it's when you're covering your costume, like you have to, and if Jimbo took off the thing, I'm sure the face wasn't there. Like, you know what I mean? It's part of the costume. So,
Oh boy, people, please just chill out. Jujubee looked pretty. It was a purple beaded dress. It's nice.
Andrew,
Jujubee looked like she just stopped at like H&M on the way and was like, I'll just take this. Like it didn't, and that's my issue with Jujubee is there's not an extravagance there that these other queens are bringing. So I feel like you're just gonna fade to the back. And I want a US queen to win, right? They're on my squad, but I don't feel like they're showcasing everything that they can. And it was a very high slit. Like I didn't know if that black like underwear was part of the dress or if that was like just actually like what she was wearing, because we saw it in the talent show too, like on the side of the dress we saw the black. So it just seemed like a very high slit there that I didn't get that. I didn't understand it.
I like the deep purple. I thought I like that it was sparkly. For Juju, that's like a little more than what she normally does. I feel like the hair was a little better than what she normally does. So I mean, I still need more from her. But for sure. It was kind of meh for sure.
Yeah,
I agree.
Meh. I agree. Jujubee, come and bring it. We're rooting for you, but you got to do more. You've been on the show so many times. Like, if I were on a show like this so many seasons, I would be taking ideas and like concepts from all these other queens, and like I would elevate my look because I would be inspired by so many people. And so I just don't see any inspiration in what she's bringing. Like, it just seems very pedestrian. Very like, I feel like even the queens on that short church street that we have here in Toronto, like show a little bit more elevated or interesting or conceptualized looks than we've gotten so far from Jujubee in her whole reign, her whole over 10-year reign on the show. So
maybe she's just spent all of her money already. She's like, I've been on Drag Race so much.
On what though?
I don't know.
If I had spent all my money on Drag Race, I would be taking those dresses and I'd be going to somebody that had like vision and an idea and be like, okay, here's all my what I've worked with.
How are people not throwing themselves at her? Like, oh, I'll make your dress. You know what I mean? Like, I would just think people would use that as an opportunity. And the fact that she hasn't outsourced those elements yet, I think is a big miss. And I'm like, there is definitely people out there that would love to make dresses for you.
Yeah, because I think on All Stars 5, Juju had some amazing looks like that I did not expect from her. So I was hoping to see that continue on here, and I didn't get that.
Yeah, so I mean, people are saying that she spent money on all the shows she's been on. Yeah, but like I think that you could take those dresses, you can have somebody redesign them or use that fabric to recreate something else. And I like go to like your local fashion design school and see and hold a contest and be like, hey, I need some looks. Like it'll get you some press on the show. Like, there's ways that you can get people to help you out for low cost or free. And so
if Jimbo can take deli meat and make it like fashionable, like Jujubee can definitely work on her runways. Like there should be no excuses anymore. Like
deli meat like stayed on him. I was like,
I was like, Jimbo went to the supermarket and did a better job than everybody else.
Okay, so this is interesting though. So it's to consider that maybe she came straight from Queen of the Universe and to this show, and so she didn't have time maybe to really go pack and prepare. Okay, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
She didn't last that long on Queen of the Universe though, so she might have had some free time.
Ouch. All right, and lastly is lastly one more person after 2 1. Pangina Heels. She looked gorgeous, I did think. Wearing that white beaded dress. She had the little crown. I do think that she's gonna have looks that I'm curious and interested about seeing. It looked expensive. I like what she brought to the table this episode.
That silver dress, so polished, so good.
Beautiful. And I think what Pangina did really smart was she told a story from her entrance look to her talent to the final, right? Everything was like, I am Thailand's best representative for drag. Her talent showcased her personality, her moves, and then her runway showed that like, oh, she can do the fashion. And it had like, when she said that all of the beading was the letters of the Thai, I was like, that's beautiful.
Amazing.
Like that's so beautiful. And I think she's
well
definitely,
thought out.
Yes.
That's what I want to see at GGP. I want to see more thought put into your looks, your talent, like everything, not just winging it. So Adrian is saying, P.S. This was filmed before Queen of the Universe, by the way. Okay, so that can't be an excuse. Oh boy. Yes, stunning. So we do get the official rules. Blue. Sorry, forgot about Blue. Her outfit was terrible. I don't like it at all. It didn't look elevated. Who would want to be crowned in that look? Did she have to wear it because of a bet? I don't know, but
Jonathan, do not say you liked it. Do not.
No, I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna disagree because
I remove him from this pod.
Where's Adrian? Adrian, come for him.
I apparently I chose about. So I thought the look was well done. I thought the makeup was well done. I thought the whole thing. I didn't think it matched. I also or went together. I also don't think it had anything to do with the theme. And that alone, I would have potentially bottom 3 or something because I was like, this has nothing to do with it. So I didn't understand that. The face painted so good. The outfit really put together and I didn't mind it. And I understood that BDSM troll doll kind of look that she said she was going for, but literally had nothing to do with what was happening. So I thought they were like almost 2 different looks mixed in with something that neither of them went along with the theme. So I get what you're saying, but I didn't hate the dress. I
didn't think the dress fit right. I thought it just looked very like chunky and the fabric because it was so shiny. Like if it's going to be loose and not like fitted, it made her look a lot larger than she is. And the hair was the same shape as her entrance look, which I think her entrance look was 100 times better than this. So I was like, if you're going to do a similar shape, then I feel like it has to be significantly elevated than the entrance look. And I don't think it was.
Yeah, no, this didn't beat the entrance look. Like the entrance look was 1,000 times better. I agree.
Yeah.
Agreed. I mean, we know that she can paint. Like I think that she's always going to look gorgeous. I just it didn't meet the brief, and that's kind of where I'm filtering everything through. Like, do you look like you're going to be crowned queen of the world, whatever? Like it didn't have that ring for me. It didn't have that elegance and that extravagance in a way that I thought was regal and like you're ready to be crowned. So, yeah, if maybe the assignment looked like a Japanese anime character. She nailed it. She's beautiful. Like, stepped out right out of a comic book. It looked good, but for it just didn't work for me for this particular brief.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
All right, so we do get the official rules here. The top 2 are going to be going head to head in a lip sync, and the bottom chosen by Ru is going to be up for elimination, and the winner of the lip sync will be sending their queen of their choice home. So we know these rules, we're familiar with them. And we kind of talked a little bit already about all the different critiques. I don't know if there's any other critiques you want to kind of go into anymore, but we did have a little bit of an Untucked moment. So is there an Untucked this season?
I don't believe there is an Untucked. So I think in the UK, they kind of blend Untucked into the actual episode, whereas in the US, it airs after it. Which I'm fine with. I think I like the way they do it better in the UK because I think sometimes Untucked can get too long. But I thought it was great to see, the queen's perspective. And I thought Lemon was a great example of like taking criticism on the chin. Lemon was like, hey, just because these 4 people aren't buying it, doesn't mean that millions out there aren't. Which made me feel good because I didn't agree with the judges in the first place.
Yeah. So we had the bottom, which was Lemon, Janie. And was Baga on the bottom or was Blue on the bottom?
I couldn't tell. I thought Baga was on the bottom, but their praise towards Baga was mostly praise. There was very little critique, and then Blue felt like more critique. So I was very confused as to which one of those 2 were top or bottom. Yeah. I think Baga was bottom though. Okay. I think they just liked Baga so much that they were just like showering her with praise. But I thought for sure Janie and Baga should have been the bottom 2.
Easily. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I want it to happen, even though I had an inkling of what was going
That
to
it would never.
happen.
Yep.
So yeah, they wanted, like we talked about, Lemon to have more face. I didn't write anything about Janie, of course.
You're like, she's not even on this show.
Bag and chips, they said great humor. The much better was infectious. Jimbo, they loved the madness. Pangina, I didn't write anything, but like we knew that she was super fabulous, and you could tell that she was on the top. Baloo, I put that she performed as a Spice Girl or something. I don't know why I wrote that.
She did that routine as a Spice Girl previously, she said. Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you. So no surprise, the winners, the top two are going to be Jimbo and Pangina. And the bottom is Lemon and Janie. No surprise about Janie. I was a little bit surprised about Lemon because I do think that I love you, Jujubee, but I think that Jujubee wasn't as good as Lemon this episode. Baga, I love Baga, but I think that Lemon was better than Baga this episode.
Yeah, Lemon was clearly better than a few queens, and you just listed them. And it's like, I think this is all comes down to producing and what they wanted and how they weren't going to let certain queens go first. And I just knew it was going to be Canadian gone first, just the structure of it. And unfortunately,
everyone wants to bag on Canada anyways. Like, Canada sucks. Rue doesn't actually come on the show. Like, oh, you're gonna finally meet Rue. Like, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Like, what they could have done was added like a couple of the Australian drag race down unders in there, and then make it like at least 11 queens or something. And then I think it could have been more up in the air. And I think Lemon would have been safe. It sucks.
This is a good point. So Adrian says, okay, but this main competition in Drag Race is to make Rue laugh. Do you know what? Lemon did not make Rue laugh. And that's something that Lemon always kind of had a bit of a problem with, is the funny element. So she can perform, she can look gorgeous, she can walk a runway, but bringing that comedic element or that likability factor, she doesn't seem to have figured that out yet for herself. And so if it's that she's not, she doesn't know who she is yet enough for her to compete. Maybe if that could be a reason why she could go first. You know, she's a little bit green as a queen, I would say. So they do chalk in the back. We see a little bit of a vulnerable moment with Lemon. Jimbo and Pangina have little conversations with all the different queens. Pangina kind of would want to save potentially Janie because they've connected and they were kind of kikiing. And Jimbo, obviously, with having the Canadian connection, wants to most likely choose Lemon to stay. And so that's obviously interesting. But at that moment, I'm like, well, Jimbo can't lip sync. So we know whoever Pangina wants is going to be winning this competition. Well,
we just saw Pangina like dance, the house down kind of thing. And Jimbo, we know, is not a dancer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it made me nervous seeing Jimbo in the top because I know that Jimbo is not as great of a lip syncer or is not as a traditional lip syncer that Rue likes, right? Jimbo's not going to do death drops and stuff. And I think what we saw in this lip sync was, it scared me for Jimbo's like competition moving forward because it was sloppy. It was very sloppy.
There might not be other dance. Well, there might be dance things in like groups and stuff like that where he can bring personality to it, but he's not a great traditional lip syncer. Even though they have like the soundbite and like the confession of him being like, oh, it's good versus evil. Do I keep her? Do I get rid of her? I'm like, you would keep her if you could, but you're not winning this lip sync. So
agreed.
That's not a real thing. So they're dancing to the Spice Girls, of course. Say You'll Be There. Not the most exciting Spice Girls song to dance to. Maybe it's the only one they could get the rights to, but Pangina, she changed her outfit. She wears something that she could dance in, and she's actually really dancing. And Jimbo's doing his Jimbo kind of walk around and like boobs, and like, Pangina won hands down. It was a no-brainer.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, Pangina's gonna win. I think Pangina's gonna pull like a Ben de la Creme and just like win a bunch of these with the all-star rules in place. I mean, I just think that she's going to do really well, and in the top two is going to constantly be the person sending people home.
I can't wait to see though what's going to go on this season though. So thanks for I was going to watch it, but I wasn't sure if I was going to cover it. So I'm interested in covering it weekly. If you're interested in covering it weekly, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
Yeah, and
it will be shorter because it won't be an hour and 15.
There's new queens and queens that we love, so it's like it'll be a good season.
Yeah, and Snatch Game is coming.
Oh yeah,
it's
we
coming.
have to be able to talk about that. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. Was there anything else about this episode that either of you guys wanted to bring up or talk about that we might have overlooked or missed?
No, I think we covered it for me. Yeah.
Oh, Adrian's agreeing with us here. The problem with Lemon, it's not original. Baga did an original performance. Well, her song was original.
Yeah.
Her song was original. I think that it's that she's not a queen that knows herself really well. And so she can't be like self-referential about anything. Like she's not she's not old enough or mature enough or established enough to be able to really make Ru laugh, basically.
Yeah.
She hasn't got it yet. She hasn't figured it out. But I love you, Lemon. I think you'll do fabulous. You're like, what, 20? You got time. You got tons of time. Jimbo's
fresh
like in
high
his
school.
mid-30s, I think. So like he has like 15 years on you. You're good. You're gonna be good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Andrew, for coming in with
welcome.
all the
Thanks for having me.
showing us up here with your knowledge of all the different franchises. It was a great pleasure having you here. Are you working on anything, or there's anything that you want to plug that maybe some people might be interested in following you or seeing you at, or anything?
Just follow me on my Insta. It's at Andy Lambs with an S. Just love talking Drag Race, watching it as much as I can. My friends are getting tired of it, but Ru keeps putting them out. So now I got you guys. So
you
it's
got
never
us.
ending here. Exactly.
We don't mind talking about it.
And I'll have a mixtape dropping tomorrow. I'm kidding, but that's what every queen says on their episode. Like my single will be out tomorrow. I'm like, okay.
As long as it's bing bang bong, sing
sing song. Bing, bang, I have a bag that says that here somewhere. I have to find it, but
And Jonathan, do you have anything going on that we want to plug?
Nothing new, but I just want to say it was a great first episode to cover. I love this season, this concept, and I'm very looking forward to it getting much better and seeing someone get much better along with it, hopefully.
But see, like we didn't love it, but like we're still going to be using that.
Still talking about it,
like we're going to be throwing that in. So regardless of like it not being that much better, like we're still going to be using the joke. So she does something right, and that's like definitely making a catchphrase, which is
agreed.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys have definitely, I wasn't sure if anybody has been watching the season, so it was really nice to see people that are up to date and were willing to hang out with us on a Sunday afternoon, chatting some UK versus the world Drag Race. It was pretty awesome, pretty fun. If you are looking for more content from me, I will be going live in a couple of hours at 5 p.m. Eastern to talk about the first 3 episodes of Australian Survivors. So I'll be on live with Ron. And then most likely later on tonight, after Big Brother, we'll be going live as well. So I'll be back many times today and hope to see you guys again next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.